Hi everyone, my name is Shandel. I know it's been a while since my last upload. I've been going through a lot emotionally, mentally. However, I finally feel ready to tell my miscarriage story. And to be honest, I don't feel that ready because every time I went to record this video, I just would get in my feelings, feels sad all over again, and just find excuses to not film. If you're new here, I've been making videos talking about my infertility journey. It wasn't easy. This was one of the hardest parts. This video is about my miscarriage and how I was betrayed and felt so alone through it all. So having a miscarriage is definitely one of the most traumatic and painful things I've ever had to go through. They say 1 in 4 pregnancies end in a miscarriage. I remember watching videos like what you're watching right now as I was going through my miscarriage and trying to understand the grief and heartbreak I was going through. If you are currently going through a miscarriage right now or have suffered with a miscarriage or miscarriages in the past, I just want you to know that you're not alone. I know it can be quiet, lonely, some people might not share. People close to you might have suffered miscarriage or going through that right now. You will never know. So if you're going through miscarriage right now or you have suffered in the past, I just want you to know that it's not your fault. Because I remember being so mad at myself and blaming myself, blaming my body, mad at my body for my miscarriage because I felt like it failed me and my body failed my unborn child, but it's not your fault. If I seem kind of off and down in this video, it's because I shouldn't have to explain it. This is a touchy topic. Even though it happened over a year ago, I still get emotional every time I talk about it. My miscarriage happened in June of last year after going through over a year of infertility. To give you all a little background, my boyfriend and I were trying for a baby for over a year and nothing was happening. For the purpose of this video, I will refer to him as my boyfriend because that's what he was at the time that I had this miscarriage, but he's not my boyfriend no more. But just for the purpose of the video, so it's clear, I just want to put you guys in June of last year and how things were while I was going through this miscarriage. So that year trying before the miscarriage was so difficult because I just could not understand why I was not getting pregnant. I already had twins that were conceived naturally and spontaneously. It was hard when my boyfriend and I wanted to expand our family, but it just was not happening. From taking test after test after test each month and never getting a positive, I thought something was wrong with me. Eventually my boyfriend said it could be him, but still I just thought, no, something happened to me. Something definitely, after I had my first set of twins, something happened. They cut my tubes. I'm older now, my twins are 6, so I thought, okay, something happened in those 6 years, or during the C-sections, my tubes were cut. I just thought it was me. After undergoing a variety of tests at the fertility clinic, it was determined that the cause of our infertility was male factor. Our diagnosis was male factor infertility. I've made videos before this one talking about our journey, what made us decide to go to the clinic, the process of getting the diagnosis, because it was more tests and stuff on that I had to undergo. He just had to give his samples, his semen sample, and do blood work and urine, but I had to undergo a whole bunch of different tests. So make sure you check out those videos. I'll link them below. Once the fertility clinic diagnosed us with male factor infertility, they told my boyfriend if he changes his lifestyle and lives a cleaner lifestyle for 3 months, he should see like a big increase with his sperm count. It should improve greatly with a lifestyle change, and it'll take 3 months to see the results if he actually makes a change. My video right before this one explains the challenges of those 3 months. Long story short, a change wasn't made. His count got lower, and so they recommended that we have an IUI. So the point of an IUI is to get the sperm placed directly inside of a woman's uterus to increase the chances of the sperm fertilizing an egg. Good in cases of male factor infertility and other cases too. So if you're struggling with infertility, there is maybe IUI could help. You have to see a clinic, but it's not just for male factor, other stuff as well. May 21st, 2021, I had my first IUI. I was super nervous, did not know what to expect. I was still in shock that we were even going to a fertility clinic and for so long, and this is what it's come down to. I honestly thought, I had faith in my boyfriend at the time that he would actually make a lifestyle change and we wouldn't need to do the IUI route. But it's like, but that's the route that we had to take. And still, I was nervous and excited to finally feel like things was moving along. I just feel like things were at a standstill. His count did not improve. It actually got worse since the test 3 months before the IUI. So I was happy to see things were moving along. And I just want to say, as messed up as this might sound, when we were trying to figure out the reason for the infertility, I was actually hoping it was on my end. So my 6-year-old twins, they have a different dad, you know, so it's like I already have kids, he doesn't have any. And so I was hoping that it was on my end, because I know that, you know what, if I'm not able to give him kids out and he wants, then if he wants to date other people and we just call it quits, or I don't know. But I also felt like if I had the issue, I would do everything in my power to fix it. And I guess I didn't really have that confidence that he'll do everything in his power based on, you know, just his habits and how he processes things, you know? So, yeah. Like, making this video over a year since the miscarriage happened, so many more things have become clear in this time that this video, maybe if I recorded it closer to when the miscarriage actually happened, would be a lot different, because now so much things make sense what didn't make sense during my miscarriage. So yeah. Okay, so May 21st, 2021, we had our first IUI. I took my first pregnancy test. Like, I used to test like crazy. Every month I would test. Like 7 days after ovulation I would test, and it was sad because it was always negative. So this time I'm like, okay, this is our first IUI. On June 1st, which was 11 days past ovulation, I took my first pregnancy test for that cycle. And this was the first IUI cycle. So it's like, I took the pregnancy test. I was like, oh my gosh. Because, you know, online, I would go on Baby Center and what to expect. And some people say they would get their big fat positive like super early, like 9 days or earlier. So I thought, okay, June 1st, I was 11 days. I thought if it's positive, I'll see a line. So I took a test that day. Did not see no line. Like, I remember putting it in the light. I put it all sorts of angles. There was no line. I was trying my hardest to see a line, you know. Like, I was like squinting. There was no line. The next day after that, actually June 1st, after I took that test, we went to Niagara Falls. It was my boyfriend's idea to bring the kids to Niagara Falls for their 5th birthday. However, that was not a good trip because he was in a mood, and I didn't understand why he was in a mood. I would be like, yo, what's wrong? And he wouldn't tell me, you know. So it wasn't like, it was nice being in Niagara Falls, but I'd rather have stayed in Toronto and not deal with the moods. On my kid's birthday, that would have been nice to just have a peaceful birthday, and it wasn't. But now I know what he was doing and why he had the moods. But that's a story for another day. That's a story for another day. But it's not even funny. It's not funny. But yeah, so we went to Niagara Falls June 1st, did a helicopter ride for the kid's birthday. And then June 2nd was their actual birthday. We did golf, everything. But then I had to come back to the city later on June 2nd because the next day, June 3rd, I had to go to the hospital to be a support person for my friend who was having her baby. She had a scheduled C-section June 3rd. I was her support person. That was an honor. I'm happy that she felt comfortable and safe enough for me to be that one person, because at the time hospitals were only allowing mothers to have that one support person. So that was awesome. It was actually a great experience seeing it from the outside, not being the one getting the C-section, but just seeing it, it was a great experience. So when I got home the night of June 3rd, after spending the day at the hospital, I took a pregnancy test and I saw a super faint line, and I was like ecstatic because this is the first time in over a year that I'm seeing any kind of indication that I might be pregnant. Like, you can't be half pregnant. So to me, if a line is a line. My memory card got full, so I had to replace it. But yeah, so I took a pregnancy test and I saw that faint line and I was super excited. I couldn't breathe. I remember being so happy. I was so happy, and I was nervous, but this was the first time I'm ever seeing a line. Like, so I'm like, okay, let me just wait till the morning. But I barely slept that night. I think I kept getting up in the middle of the night to go look at the test. I'll go to the washroom, turn on the bright light, and be like, oh, is that a line? Well, the next day, the morning of June 4th, I took another pregnancy test. It was one of those cheap pregnancy strips from Amazon that come in like a box of like 60 or 100. I took one of those tests and I saw a faint line. I still saw a line, was really faint. So I'm like, okay. I had an appointment with the fertility clinic that day anyways. So before I went back to the hospital to help my friend who just gave birth, I had to go to my appointment at the fertility clinic. So when I went there, I did blood work. You know, they took my blood. I was like remaining hopeful, you know, and then I went to the hospital. Now at the hospital, when I was holding my friend's baby, that's when I got the call from the fertility clinic that the congratulations. They told me that my levels is at a point where it's a positive pregnancy. They told me I'm going to have to come back in a couple of days for repeat testing because they want to make sure that the HCG levels are rising appropriately. They're supposed to double, I think like every day or 2 days, or yeah, they're supposed to be doubling. I was super happy because, you know, when I got the call, I was holding my friend's baby, and to get that, I'm like, oh, my friend's baby blessed me. Like, I felt good. Like, to try so long and to finally being told you're pregnant, like not just from the test but from even the doctors, like you're pregnant, like this is a positive pregnancy. I was thrilled, so happy. So I bought some more pregnancy tests off Amazon, but this time I bought the first response. I think the one that you could find out like 6 days sooner. So I bought a first response, and then I tested it on June 5th, and this was the first time that I've got like a definite line. Like if you're in those pregnancy forums online, Baby Center, What to Expect, any of those, you know, they use all those symbols, the BFP, your big fat positive, and that was my first like big fat, like clear the line. What's the name when the line is super strong? There's a name that they're called. I haven't been in the forums since I was over a year ago now. Found I was pregnant, but it was clear as day that I'm pregnant. And I also tested at night. Like I was a tester. The amount of tests that I've bought for that pregnancy back in June of last year, so many first response, because once I found out that like, oh, I'm pregnant, I wanted to do the line progression with the first response test so I could see it get darker each time, you know. So I tested again in the night, and I saw from morning to night the line got a lot darker. So this was great news. I was super excited. My boyfriend's birthday is June 6th. So I'm like, okay, let me wait till his birthday to tell him the good news that we're expecting. Like, I'm pregnant, we're gonna have a baby. I'm like, what better gift would this be than to tell my boyfriend after we've been struggling for so long and going through so much in our relationship through this journey. I talked about it in the last video, and I'll talk about it in more videos. You know, I'm just trying to get the confidence. I want to tell my story, so I'm gonna definitely tell my story. Make sure you subscribe because I'm tired of staying silent. I'm not gonna be silent no more. You know, I felt like I've been like still trying to like dance around it, but I'm just gonna say shit as it is. Tired of trying to cover and save people when no one's there to save me, right? So it is what it is. Now on my boyfriend's birthday, June 6th, I've known since June 3rd that I'm possibly pregnant. Mind you, from June 3rd to June 6th, I haven't seen him. Those 3 days, I know I've been at the hospital with my friend, but even at night, haven't seen him. And there's so many red flags to our relationship. Hey, it's me, Shandel from the future. I'm editing this video, and there's things that I want to add in that I missed when I recorded it. I'm charging my camera, so I have to hold it on this angle for now. But I wanted to add in that. So on June 1st, when we went to Niagara Falls, and that's when the moods began, and I didn't know what was causing it. But on June 2nd, now this is my kid's actual birthday, June 2nd, the morning of, the moods were at an all-time high, and then he's like, he wants to go back to Toronto. I'm like, why? He's like, I want to go back. Eventually he said it's because he wanted to pick up a rental, which made no sense. We're in Niagara Falls, which is an hour and a half away from Toronto. We went there in my car. It's not like we don't have a car to drive. Like, why does he need a rental on the kid's birthday when this is their birthday? We're in Niagara Falls. So that caused even more moods because he wanted to hurry up and leave, because at this point I guess he did not care about the kid's birthday. It was all about his plans with the rental. So at this time I didn't understand like what was the big hype, why he wanted this rental so bad on their birthday. It definitely was not for them because this is their birthday, they're in Niagara Falls. So why are we gonna end their birthday for him to get a rental when I have a car? It's not like we're carless. The kid's not gonna get excited for a rental. It's their birthday, they want to do something fun. A rental's not fun for kids. Like, you know. But I found out exactly why he wanted that rental. I found that out a year later, pretty much, when I was 8 months pregnant, I found out why he wanted that rental on my kid's birthday. Had nothing to do with me, the kids. It was a whole nother lifestyle I didn't know anything about. I'm gonna mention it later in this video, and I'm gonna make a separate video on it, so subscribe. So he was in a mood because he wanted a rental for another life I did not know about. And so when I didn't see him those 3 days, I just thought, okay, it's because he got the rental and he's giddy over a rental. Like, this is his first time being able to drive a car without anyone in it, because before he would be driving my car with me in it. He didn't really know how to drive, and he didn't have his proper license to drive on his own. So now it's like he's driving around this rental, he's excited, like he feels like he's a big man. And now I know why he was in those moods and why and who he had in the rental at first, to a certain extent, because you never truly know. It was a whole next lifestyle. But back to the video. But I haven't seen him those 3 days, and I know I wasn't around for the majority of the day, but at night, you know, still haven't seen him. So I guess it was easy to not tell him, because it wasn't like I was seeing him anyways. So on his birthday now, I called him and I'm like, oh, I would like to see you, like, it's your birthday. You know, like, why do I have to ask my man to see him on his birthday? He's like, oh, I'm at my aunt's, they're doing a cake, blah, blah. Oh, nice. I never got no invite to this party at his aunt's. They did a cake for him. I'm his girlfriend, so I thought. But I'm his girlfriend, I didn't get no invite. I was excited. I wanted to share with him the news because I thought he would be super excited. It's his birthday. So I got dressed up, put on my fancy purple wig, put my lashes, got everything. I actually have a video of me getting the test ready to surprise him. I have everything on video. I have his reaction. I have all that. I'm not going to show him, but I'll show... Here. Watch the clip. Today's a super special day because I want to tell my boyfriend on his birthday. Today's his birthday. Sunday, June 6, 2021. Today's his birthday. And I'm going to tell him that I'm pregnant. It feels weird to even say that out loud, but I took a test 2 days ago. Came out positive. I don't know if you guys could see it, but it says pregnant. I got 2 lines on the test, and it says that I am about 1 to 2 weeks pregnant. I'm kind of nervous. You know, we've been trying for a while. This did not come easy, so for me to get for it to be finally happening, like right before his birthday, that's pretty cool. I also got him some OVO that I bought this weeks ago. This is gonna be his first OVO. So he's getting his first OVO, and he's gonna get a positive pregnancy test. This is a hat. So the sleep you ordered is out of stock. My boyfriend loves to sleep. So yeah, so I'm gonna wrap up the test in the shirt. I'm in a rush because he's actually waiting for me. He came a lot earlier than I expected, so yeah, I'm gonna do all this. I have a few other items. You guys will see when he opens it. So I have a few other items that I'm giving to him, and I gave him some more stuff before because it was the twins' birthday, June 2nd, so just literally 4 days ago, and I wanted everyone to match. I gave my boyfriend some of the clothing and said, hey, this is an early birthday gift because I want you to match with us, but don't forget it's a birthday gift. So I'm gonna get going. I'm so nervous. Okay, so this is how I have everything. I'm probably gonna put it in a bag so it's easier to carry, like a big, like garbage bag. So we are at Exhibition Park in Toronto. They're gonna open some stuff. I won't be showing his reaction. However, I watched it over, and it hurts all over again because it's like he was so happy. He looked so happy. It looked so pure. It looked so genuine. And then finding out it was all, oh yes, but then when I needed him, just was not there. But yeah, I'm skipping. Let me not skip too much. Alright, so he was very happy. He opened everything, seen the pregnancy test. It was amazing, you know, to have that experience with him. It was amazing. He was super excited. He called his dad and told his dad, his aunt, and his sister, like pretty much a couple minutes after he found out. And I let him have his moment. He wanted to tell the world. He had all right to tell whoever he wanted to tell. This is big news. This is major news. You know, he's happy. I'm happy. At this point, I've only told my friend who I was at the hospital with when she was having her baby. She was the only person who knew that I was pregnant. So with my boyfriend going around and telling so many people, I thought, you know what? Maybe I should tell some people. I shared the news with about 3 close friends, but I didn't want to tell too many people because it was still so early. We were both super excited, but even in my excitement, I still wanted to keep it a little private because it was so early. But he had the freedom to tell whoever he pleased. You know, he had that. I never ever told him, hey, you cannot tell anyone. He had all freedom to tell the world if that's who he wanted to. I personally was just tell a little bit of people for now, which was meant to be close friends. So days after finding out I was pregnant, I started to look at baby items like cribs, like sleepers, what the going home outfit will be. I was looking at a sleeper that looked like one that my brother bought my twins for their going home outfit. I had a dream that the baby I was carrying was a boy. So I was looking at I remember I said the boy sleeper, you know, because I had a dream that it was a little boy. But even still, I was happy whether it was a boy, whether it was a girl. I was happy with whatever. I had a list of names that if it's a boy, here's a list of name, girl, here's a list of name. So I was super excited. And you know, when you're trying for so long, it's like the gender doesn't matter. I was just happy to be pregnant and having a baby. I was also thinking of like a cool and interesting way that I could tell my parents. I'm like, what would I do? Because they're not first-time grandparents. You know, I have 6-year-old twins right now. They're 6 now. At the time, they were 5. So it's like, okay, I have twins and my brother has kids, you know. So it's like they're not first-time grandparents. So like, what do I put? I can't put, you're gonna be a grandma, grandpa. Like, I was trying to think of cool ways that I could tell them, you know, because now it's like, it's a different experience. Well, so I thought this was like a total different experience than when I was pregnant with my twins, you know, because that was very spontaneous. I was caught off guard. I was in shock. This time it's like you're praying and you're hoping and you're wanting something for so long. So many doctor's appointments, so many clinics, so many disappointments. So much heart and feeling have got into this journey just to get here. So I was ecstatic, you know. Super. I just wanted this to be like those experiences that you might see on YouTube, you know, where this is how I showed my friends, this is how I told my parents. Reaction, like I wanted to experience that and capture those special moments. Throughout the first week of finding out that I was pregnant, I kept going to the fertility clinic to monitor my HCG levels. At the time, it was doubling like it was supposed to, so all seemed well. I started to feel just a little bit of nausea, but it wasn't too bad. It was definitely like, I'd feel it, but then it'll go away. So it was very light. It was the total opposite of when I was pregnant with my twins, because right after that positive, like, no, I missed my period, and then a couple days later the nausea didn't gradually start. It was extreme, like from nothing to vomiting nonstop. That was with my first one. This time it's like, okay, I've known for about a week and just a little bit of nausea. I'm like, oh, this is amazing, this is nice. Well, it was nice until it wasn't anymore. On Friday, June 11th is when my whole world got turned upside down. Friday, June 11th, I went to the fertility clinic and it's like my numbers doubled, but it didn't double like how it was supposed to double. Like the doubling wasn't really doubling, you know. The nurse said, you know, it's still good. It doesn't have to be an exact double. Like, I don't think it was a full double, but almost double. And she said, you know what, it's still good, you know, it's still good. And it's like, maybe kind of uneasy. I was nervous. Then I would go on forums and people say, yeah, mine didn't completely double for like a day and then it was fine or something like that. So I was still hopeful, but I was nervous. I have my HCG levels. Because it's been a year, like I always wrote everything down in my notes. Let me go back to those notes. I don't like making things up, so I keep my receipts. Yeah, so it didn't quite, yeah, so I have my notes here. It did not quite double. June 9th, it was 382, and June 11th, it was 651. So I was just expecting it to be in the 700s, and it wasn't. So it didn't quite double in the 2 days. But, you know, the nurse, I don't know if it's just, maybe I don't know if she thought something was wrong but just didn't want to say it, but she said everything was good. You know, sometimes it doesn't double completely. She was being very optimistic, and I was definitely overthinking but still very hopeful, you know. But that did make me feel a little uneasy. But then when I saw online some people said theirs didn't quite double sometimes, so I was like, okay, let me just think positive. I'm gonna think positive and not stress, you know. Complete lies, I was stressing, but I was still trying to think positive. Later that night is when my world turned upside down, you guys. When I went to the washroom, I wiped and I saw, I wouldn't say blood, but I saw things on a tissue. It was like a brownish reddish color. I'm like, there's no way this could be implantation bleeding because I'm past that. Like, I'm like 2 weeks past, like implantation. So it's like the worst thing to see when you're pregnant is anything that resembles a possibility of blood or abnormal like discharge, and this is like a brownish reddish. So I'm like, okay. I looked at it and I kept looking. I think I had anxiety attack where I walked up and down, and then I remember calling my boyfriend in a panic. You know, I'm like, can you come here? Like, I wiped and I saw blood. I'm like, can you come? I saw blood. Like, can you come? He said, calm down. It's okay. I'm like, I need you here. You know, I told him I needed him here. Shortly after I saw, like, I guess the spotting on the tissue, I started having cramps. So I'm like, what is this? What's going on? Right away, my mind was going like, this can't be good. This cannot be good. When you're pregnant, as a mom, as the woman carrying the baby, your biggest fear is having a miscarriage or something happening to your baby, or your baby's not doing well. And so early, especially those first 3 months where they say it's the highest chance of having miscarriage, my biggest fear is was like right there. Like, I was like, I think I'm having a miscarriage. So the next morning we dropped the twins to my mom's house. I was in so much pain by morning. Like, I couldn't even sit like this. I'm like in so much pain. I did not even tell my parents that I was pregnant, you know. So it's like, I didn't tell them that I was in pain. I didn't tell them about the positive pregnancy, because it's like I was still hoping that I was gonna be pregnant and be able to surprise them in a way that was nice, you know. And it was early. It was still early, and I didn't even tell my mom. So I went there to drop off the kids so I could go to the hospital, and I'm in severe pain and trying to play it cool. And then they had cornmeal porridge, you know. If you're Jamaican or from the Caribbean, you know about cornmeal porridge. I couldn't even eat it. As much as I wanted to eat, I couldn't eat. I was just sick to my stomach, so much pain. I was in distress. I just wanted to go to the hospital and find out what's wrong. So after dropping the twins, went straight to the hospital. They wouldn't allow my boyfriend to come in, because at that time they weren't allowing any support person with patients who needed to go to emergency, which is so wrong. That's wrong. You know, I was in so much pain, I couldn't even walk. And it's like, they weren't even allowing my boyfriend at the time to like come in to like push me around in a wheelchair. And then they're like, oh, people in the hospital will help, but they barely helped. Like, it wasn't really a help. I had to sit in that hospital for hours on end waiting, like they had to do blood work, and just waiting by myself in pain as I'm going through emotional turmoil and physical agony. And I remember it was so crowded. It was a Saturday. It was so crowded. There was barely chairs for everyone. People are in the hallways and the aisleways. Like, while there, I'm like trying my hardest to hold back tears, because every time I'm in pain, it hurts. And then I'm going through emotional pain, and I'm like, I just want to drop down and bawl my eyes out, but I can't, because like I'm in public, and like, what? And to drop down is, I'm in so much pain I can't even drop down. I have no energy to drop down. That's how much pain I'm in, that I don't even have energy to drop down. I just have to stay still. Could not believe that this is where I am. This baby that I prayed for, we tried so long for, I went to a fertility clinic for, put my body on the line for, tried to encourage my boyfriend for. How could I be losing this baby that I dreamed about, that I seen in my dreams? I could not believe that this is what was happening. I know people have miscarriages, but you don't really understand it till you go through it. And I pray that if you have not experienced one, that you don't experience it, because it's so hard. And even when the physical pain goes away, the emotional pain lingers on. So I had to do blood tests, and the blood test at the hospital, it showed that my HCG levels decreased. Instead of, I believe it said 651 the day before on the Friday, because I wrote everything down. I was even able to tell, because what date is this? You see June 14, 2021. That shows, because if I went to edit this, it'll show today's date. But June 14, 2021, today's December 1st. It's almost December 2nd, because it's midnight. This is the time I get to record, because I tried to record. This is my second time recording this video, because I actually tried earlier and I couldn't. I was able to tell the hospital that on June 11th it was 651. So on June 12th now at the hospital it's 600. So there it went lower, which is a sign that my pregnancy is no longer progression. It should have went up by almost double, and it's it's going down now. So I guess they try to not make patients feel so bad. So they're like, okay, maybe like the clinic has their own measuring system and the hospital has their own for HCG. So, you know, the numbers could be off because they use a different. That's what I was told, I guess, to make me feel better. I don't know if that's true or not, but I was still hopeful. Like, I was still trying to believe in the miracle that there's no way that this miracle baby of mine, I'm losing it. Like, I was still trying to remain hopeful even though things did not look good, and the pain was like, it was different level pain. I was eventually examined by an OB that was on duty. And I remember she's like, okay, describe your pain level out of 10. And I'm like, 10. She's like, you don't look like your pain's out of 10. Like, ma'am, just because I carry this pain well, just because I guess, I don't know. Even now, people tell me, oh, you look, like, I'll be having the worst of days. And I'm like, you look great. It's like, damn, you know, pain looks great on me, I guess. But I was in so much pain. And to me, it was more than 10 out of 10. I was like at 100 out of 10 in pain. She said, you don't look like you're 10 in pain. I was like, I am. I just hide it well. Like, how am I supposed to look? To me, I look like I was in pain. To me, I look like I was in pain. But it's not about how I looked. It's how I felt. Shouldn't look at someone and say, you look like you're in pain. You can't see someone's hurt. That's within. During a pelvic exam, the OB touched different areas of my pelvic area, and then when she put it in one particular area, it's just like, it was like a switch of pain, like like it hurt, you know, it hurt so bad. I'm like, oh my god, yeah, right there, don't put it on air. She's like, so she touched other places that those particular, like, I was in pain in general, but like that particular spot was like extra painful. So the OB told me that next I'll have an ultrasound and to go back in the waiting area. And it's like, okay, so even just getting up, I was in pain. I don't know how she could say I don't look like I'm in pain. I barely could walk, ma'am. So I had to go back and wait, and eventually had an ultrasound. So what they did, because I was still early, so I had a transvaginal ultrasound where they put the pole. If you watch my other videos, you know I described that, because I would have that almost every other day at the fertility clinic. So I was a pro at these. They never ever hurt while I was at the fertility clinic. But during the miscarriage, when I'm in severe pain, them doing that transvaginal ultrasound was like horrible. I remember laying there and she's putting the pole in to see, and I'm like closing my legs because I'm in so much pain. Like, you know when something hurts, they're like, relax, and I'm like, I can't. It was so painful, and I've had so many of these from going to the clinic for so long. So it wasn't like I was new to this. I guess from just my body being tender from the miscarriage, it was so painful for them to even put the ultrasound pole in to see. It was so painful. I remember they wrote that in one of my reports. In my hospital reports, they wrote that, oh, severe pain went during the ultrasound and blah blah. So after the ultrasound, I met with another OB, and that OB informed me that the ultrasound showed that there was no gestational sac found. They did not see a sac, but due to my HCG levels, I'm pregnant. Now it's a pregnancy in an unknown location. Because it was still quite early, they wanted me to come back to do another ultrasound. That second OB could, I guess, see my pain. The one who said, I don't look like you don't look like pain, but this OB, I guess, she could tell that I was in pain, because she was like, honestly, the amount of pain that you're in, I do not even feel comfortable sending you home. She did not want to send me home, and when she said she wanted to admit me, I wanted to bawl. You know, I'm just like, what's going on? She told me, due to your pain level, I don't feel comfortable sending you home, and we believe you may be having an ectopic pregnancy. If that's the case, you may have to remove your tube, because the amount of pain that you're in, we may have to remove your tube. I couldn't believe this. I did so many tests at the ultrasound. There was nothing found wrong with my body. I passed every test with flying colors. I did a sono to check the tubes. My tubes were clear. I did not have any issue. So it's like, to not have any issue now and then have a miscarriage and they're gonna take out my tubes. Well, if you take out my tubes, now I'm gonna have an issue. Now, how am I gonna get pregnant without my fallopian tube, you know. I went to a fertility clinic thinking I had an issue, told I have no issue. Now I get pregnant and now I'm losing the baby and I'm gonna lose my tubes. I started bawling, I was crying. At this point I don't care who's seen me, because it's like, now what's gonna happen? Now this is an extra difficulty. It's already difficult getting pregnant with my working tubes due to my boyfriend's low count, but what's gonna happen if there's no tube? You know, she said it only takes one tube, you know, you just need one tube to get pregnant. It'll just be that one tube they take out because of my pain. I'm like, no, I don't want to lose my tube. She's like, I'm not have a choice. I'm like, I'll come back tomorrow, please just let me sleep on it, and if I'm in severe pain, I'll come back to the hospital right away. She's like, are you sure? Because I really feel like I need to admit you. I'm like, I'll come back, or if the pain gets any worse, I'll come back instantly. I said I'll come back. I was bawling. I'm like, from thinking I had an issue to doing so many tests for months at the clinic and no issue, to now I'm having a miscarriage, and this miscarriage, I'm not only losing the baby that I dreamed about, that I prayed about, that I had so many hopes and plans and I grew attached to so fast, but I'm also might lose my chance to get pregnant again. Like, that's just what I was thinking. Like, I'm gonna now this is just insult to injury. At this point it's night. Like, I was at the hospital the entire day. I remember I was there the entire day. I called my boyfriend to come get me. He picked me up. I was by myself the entire time going through this. I wanted to be able to just lay with him, let him know what I went through, you know, at the hospital, all the tests and the news. I just wanted to be able to, like, express myself to my boyfriend, because what is a boyfriend for if you cannot have them as emotional support? Like, why are you with someone if you don't have them as emotional support? Like, I know that now. Me back then, me just a few months ago did not know. I know that now. So I tried to talk to him, and I just felt like I was talking to a blank wall. He was just like kind of like nodding his head, not really saying much. I thought, okay, maybe he's sad about it too, you know? But then after 10 minutes, he's like, okay, I'm gonna head out. He did give me a heating pad. But then after 10 minutes, when I thought he was gonna lay with me and we watch a movie, he said he's gonna head out. I'm like, where are you going? He's like, oh, I have to go meet someone. And it's like, I was at the hospital all day. I just thought we would be able to have time to spend together. I know, but I have to go. I have to meet some. I was just so disgusted. It's like, you know, when you're in so much pain, and I'm already so sad to lose this baby. So it's like I couldn't deal with him, and just now I see no empathy. Back then I didn't even take it in that this is lack of empathy. I just thought, like, what's wrong? Like, what? I just thought, like, is he not sad? Yeah, he said he's just gonna run down quickly and he'll be right back up, you know? Well, 4 hours passed and then he finally came back. 4 hours. This is like way late in the night now. So since my boyfriend was out and about and I was not getting any support from him emotionally, it was more important for him to go out and meet his friend or whoever instead of being a comfort. So I turned to YouTube for comfort. I went on YouTube and I searched videos where other women and couples spoke about having a miscarriage. And I was really sad watching it, but it made me feel, I don't know how to describe it, but just getting an understanding of other women who have gone through this, you know? And other couples as well, because some women did have their partner. They did get support from the person whose baby they lost, but it wasn't my situation. I thought I was gonna get that, but instead road was more important to him, his other life. I turned to YouTube and started watching YouTube videos the entire time of women who were going through miscarriage. I'm like, where were you? I thought you said you're just gonna quickly just run and do what you had to do and come back. Yo, things came up. It's like, what do you mean things came up? Like, I'm having a miscarriage for our child. His attitude just did not seem like normal. Like, your girl's having a miscarriage. And you just... I'm at the hospital all day. I just wanted to come back and just have comfort from the person that I thought I was going through this journey with. You know, I thought this was my person and I supported his infertility. I did that genuinely, and now it's like I'm going through crisis that it should have been we're going through. This is both of our babies. His sperm was used to conceive this baby. And it's like he just out, just like, okay, well, okay, something came up. It's like, what? You know, but I was just so sad, so devastated. So I waited and I waited. 4 hours later, he came. You know, and it was just mostly just to come to, for him to go bed. And then we went to bed. He's like, come go to bed. And it's like, I just wanted to be able to talk about it, but, you know, he just wanted to go to bed. Like, I was just so puzzled because, like, I had the video. I just looked at it again prior to filming, and I'm like, he really was appearing so happy to find out I was pregnant, but it's like now losing it, it's like, like, how do you get so happy to be having a baby and then to lose baby? It's like, okay, it's not normal. That is not normal. Now I know it's not normal, but the manipulation had me in a chokehold. The gaslighting, I didn't. My mind was clearly not in the right frame of mind, because I went through this, and now I look back, it's like, I really went through that. Like, why did I forgive that? So now it's the next morning. Now this is June 13th. So the next morning, bright and early, like it wasn't even 7 yet, 6:59. The OB who I saw in the night called, and she's like, I just want to make sure that you're coming back. Like, she said she was thinking about me all night. At least someone was, because it didn't look like my boyfriend was thinking about me. But she said she was thinking about me all night. She just wanted to make sure that I'm coming back, because I promised her I'll be back first thing in the morning. So I told her, yes, I'm getting ready to come right now. She kind of gave me a little hope, you know. She said, you know what, I was thinking that maybe it could be something with your appendix. Maybe something's wrong with your appendix. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what that means, but I'm hoping, like, shit, better something wrong with my appendix or something wrong with my baby, like anything but my baby. This is where my mind was. Okay, I'm like, oh, hopefully it's my appendix. To be honest, I don't know much about appendix, but I was like, hopefully it's my appendix and not my baby, because, like, what? I did another ultrasound and no problem with my appendix was shown, but the repeat blood test did show that my HCG level dropped in half. It was way lower than the day before. Like, the pregnancy, that was it. Pregnancy was, my body is just rejecting it now. Pregnancy hormones going down, no more progressing pregnancy. That's it. My pregnancy was 326, and before that I believe it was like 600. So it dropped in half in a day. So I remember the pain being so unbearable. It hurt to walk, it hurt to sneeze. I didn't cough, because you know, if you cough during these times, like, people gonna look at you crazy. But, like, it hurt to do everything. It hurt to cry, it hurt to sneeze, it hurt to, like, laugh. There was nothing to laugh about, but it just, any kind of thing hurt. The ultrasound did show something that was not there the day before. It showed a mass. Like, it showed the mass, which they believe was the sac, but it was where it shouldn't have been. The hospital staff described it as an ectopic abortion. I did not know what an ectopic abortion was. The OB, she drew a diagram. I'll insert it here, but she drew a diagram to explain what was happening. Basically, she said instead of the fertilized egg implanting in my uterus, it was stuck in my fallopian tube and got pushed the other direction. So instead of the tube pushing the eggs to the uterus, it kind of like pushed the eggs the wrong way. The egg the wrong way. So I can actually go and read my official report. Okay, honestly, the report is super long. I'm not gonna read all that. The report is super long. I'll just read the ending, like a little piece of it. It says, this is an ectopic abortion with expulsion of the pregnancy from the fallopian tube. HGB stable and pain is manageable, lies. Whoever wrote this wrote it with bad grammar, because they wrote, she would counsel thoroughly. This is an ectopic abortion with expulsion of the pregnancy from the fallopian tube. Her HGB is stable and pain is manageable. Lies. It was not manageable. Lies. She would, I think they meant she was counseled thoroughly on the meaning of ectopic abortion, and we discussed that this may or may not indicate a primary problem with the fallopian tube. Remember, I had the test at a fertility clinic. There was nothing wrong with my fallopian tubes prior to the miscarriage, you know? So there's no indication that I'll be at a high risk for ectopic, because I passed every test. This may impact her fertility going forward. So obviously, like, imagine how I feel from going to a fertility clinic for so long, struggling with infertility, now having a miscarriage that might affect my fertility. Like, this is insult to injury. However, this is not a contraindication for repeat IUI. We discussed with Shandel that surgery is not required since she's not at risk of rupturing her fallopian tube. Yo, God was on my side, because the day before, when they put their hand in that spot, I guess that was like by my tubes, and that was severe pain. The next day, when I went back on this day, when they put their hand in that same spot, the pain was no longer in that spot. So it looked like my body pushed out the egg, you know? So I didn't have to take out my tubes or nothing. If I stayed in the hospital that night, they would have took out my tubes. I'm so happy that I made the choice to go home and sleep on it, because if I stayed in that hospital, they would have took out my good up tubes, like my good tubes. God got me, because if I legit stayed in that, science would have fucked me over. okay, let me stop. But whatever was stuck, it pushed out naturally. I didn't have to take anything to get it out. I don't even like calling it out, to be honest. Even though this was not an ideal situation, I'm just happy that I also did not have to take out my tubes. It was expelled on its own. My body rejected it. There's a whole lot of written stuff here. Yeah, that was that. They said I had an ectopic abortion. So the ectopic pregnancies where the egg implants elsewhere than the uterus, you know? But I guess it was a topic abortion because I guess it was in my tube, and my tube aborted it naturally. But I was still in severe pain. Wherever it pushed it out to, it was still causing me severe pain, and I hate to call it, you know. Pain was still unbearable. It wasn't lightening up. I did not know that a miscarriage could be so painful. I know emotionally, but I didn't realize the physical impact. Still, I was devastated. I was devastated on losing my baby. I was devastated at the potential inability I might have to get pregnant again, you know, because now I'm thinking that, okay, even though I passed the test of fertility clinic, with this happening, this might have affected my tubes, and maybe it'll make it even harder to get pregnant now, you know, because this was the first IUI getting pregnant. It didn't work out, but what's gonna happen to try again if my tubes are not working? If you look back at the video titled Our Diagnosis, I underwent so many tests and there was nothing indicating a problem with my tubes. So it's just like, what went wrong? So the next day now, because this was Sunday, so the next day, which was Monday, I went to my appointment with the fertility clinic. So this appointment was to monitor my blood levels, but after having a miscarriage over the weekend and still having it because I was still bleeding, when I went there, everyone was like, oh, I heard the good news, and then I heard the good news, but then I had to tell them on my weekend. It's like, well, it was good news until Friday night. I'm like, I was at the hospital the whole weekend. They told me I'm having an ectopic abortion, I'm having miscarriage, I'm in severe pain. They're like, well, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm in severe pain. Like, I'm hurting. Emotionally, I'm suffering. Mentally, I'm suffering. Physically, I'm suffering. Like, this is horrible. It was hard from being told, congrats, oh my gosh, then to, oh, I'm so sorry, you know? It was hard. It was a hard day. The entire thing was hard, not just a day, because this lasted weeks. I did not know that a miscarriage could last weeks. The fertility clinic wanted to see me every 2 days to ensure that my HCG level was going back down. They needed it to go back, I guess, to a 0 or whatever number it is that showed that, like, okay, yeah, all the pregnancy hormones are out of my body. And then eventually, like, if I want to try again, I could try again. But at this point, I was too sad to even think about trying again. I just wanted to know what caused it to prevent it from happening. They said ectopic abortion, but it's like, that still didn't sit right with me, because like what caused it though? One of the head doctors at the clinic said I could do a biopsy, which I guess they take a piece of my tissue and they run tests to find out what caused the miscarriage. So I said yes, I would like to do the biopsy. So I had one scheduled in a few weeks from that day, so I could find out a more clarification of what caused the miscarriage. So although the hospital said ectopic abortion, the biopsy showed that it was, I guess, chromosomes. I guess there was an issue with the chromosomes. I guess my body did not want to implant it, you know? My body said, rejected it. I was told it was chromosomal. That was the cause of my miscarriage, chromosome. I guess the baby did not have the right number of chromosomes or what, and you know, my body said, I guess my body did not want the baby to have a hard life. I don't know, but my body said they don't have the right amount of chromosomes or some wrong chromosomes, so I cannot accept it. So I was mad at my body, you know, because at this point I was hurt. I'm like, I would have loved it. I would have loved my child regardless. So my miscarriage lasted over 2 weeks. When I thought about miscarriages before, I never thought it was something that goes on for that long. I thought it was just more of a, maybe a couple of days, but I never knew a miscarriage could last weeks. What made it extremely hard is that it wasn't that I was just bleeding and cramping. Like, I was in severe pain pretty much the entire 2 weeks. I was so depressed. I remember just laying down on my couch. Not this couch, I had a gray couch. I got rid of the gray couch because it reminded me of the miscarriage. After the miscarriage was done, I did not want to see the couch no more, because that's all I did during the miscarriage was lay on that couch, sad and like just depressed. I remember my son Eli, every day we watched Spider-Man. We watched Spider-Man every evening, every day. Like, he was my rock. He helped me so much. So I too, my daughter too, you know. And then yeah, just cuddling with my kids got me through it, because as I'm telling you the story, I'm not really mentioning my boyfriend because he was not there. He wasn't around. Even when I went to the fertility clinic, I remember that morning being in so much pain. And then I'm like, can you help me up? And he was just like standing there. And then I'm like, okay. I asked my son, I'm like, can you help me up? And he helped me up. Then my boyfriend was like, I would have helped you up. Why you didn't say anything? I'm like, I did say something. It's like, what? Like, the man was moving like he was mad at me for having a miscarriage or something. I don't know, but I just found his attitude throughout that weird. Like, why are you being so, like, no empathy? Like, does it seem like you don't care, or that you're mad at, I'm having a miscarriage and it's like you're mad at me? At this point, school was closed, because, you know, they were doing that. They opened school and they closed it because their COVID numbers were getting high, and they'll close it. I mean, then they'll open it, close it. So at this point, on June 2021, school's closed, because yeah, my kids were home the whole time. So, like, once they were not my mom's, they were home for the week. I felt like I had to, instead of him offering help or just taking initiative, I would have to like beg, and then I still wouldn't get the help. And my kids used to love like pulling me up. Like, even before the miscarriage, I would be like, help me up, like, just for fun, and they always loved to pull me up. So it was like, when I actually needed help, they already knew what to do, and they were 5 at the time, and it's not their job to, you know. This is a situation where I thought I was gonna have my boyfriend's support. I thought I was gonna have my boyfriend to lean on, but instead I was leaning on my kids. It was them who got me through it, you know. And I know that there's lots of women who experience miscarriages and they don't have any child. They're trying to get one child, you know. So my heart goes out to you completely. But I was going through secondary infertility, and it was hard. Can't even imagine. At the time, I did not know what my boyfriend was really up to. Like, I know he was driving on rentals because this is still his birthday month, and I don't know what made him feel like he had to go get like expensive rentals to drive around because it's his birthday month. But that's what he was doing. So even though I needed him during this time, he could have saved his rental money for a little later, and he could have been a support. You know, I have a car. If he wanted to drive a car that bad, I've always let him drive my car. And may I add, he only went to the fertility clinic with me after the miscarriage that one time. Just that one time. I went every other day for them to monitor my blood levels decreasing. He only went that one time. But you want to know who went with me? My kids. Because schools were closed then. I felt like this is important to add in. Like, schools were closed. I had my kids with me, going to these appointments with me. I'm sad. I'm in pain. I'm going through it. I'm trying my hardest to hide my pain. Hide my my sadness from my kids. I did not want my kids to just see me sad, see me in pain. Like, sometimes it would be just so unbearable, and I would just say, I'm not feeling well, you know, I'm not feeling well right now. And that's why my son was just putting on the movies, because he's like, okay, mommy's sick. I would feel so bad because it's like I'm in pain and I feel so depressed, and my kids are seeing me like this. They did not know that I was pregnant. I did not tell my children that I was pregnant, that they were gonna be having a little brother or sister. I did not tell them that. So they did not know anything about me being pregnant. So there was nothing to explain to them with losing this baby, because I did not tell them. You know, it was still early. I did not tell them, so they did not know. My kids did not know that I was pregnant. They didn't know that I was losing a baby during this time, and still they were an amazing support, bringing them to such hard appointments. Like, they had online school. They would miss the online school to go to these appointments with me. I have my kids in the car, and I have to go to these appointments with them alone, in pain, to monitor that my levels is going down instead of going up. I'm in severe pain. I could barely drive without feeling like my insides are being ripped apart. In pain, not only emotionally but physically, wondering why this man is not here to help me. Why is driving a rental more important at this time than being a support? I remember pulling over to the side. My kids like, oh, why did we stop? I couldn't even say anything to them. I pulled over because I just needed to recompose myself. I was in so much pain. I just felt like, you know what, let me pull over for a little bit. Didn't really help, but still I kept going. Well, if my boyfriend was a support, he could have did the online school with them, or he could have did the online school even in the car. It was online. The kids could have done it from anywhere. But driving the rentals and living this other life is more important than being present at such a hard time. But like I mentioned, at the time, I did not know that he was living a secret life. I just was so confused as to why he's not being a support. Why is he so excited to drive these rentals? I didn't understand. I'm going through so much hurt right now that it's like I'm too busy sad about this baby to really figure out what he's doing, because I trusted him. I wouldn't have been supporting him this entire time if I did not trust him. I wouldn't have went to a fertility clinic for him if I did not trust him. One of the main reasons why I loved him was because I thought he was someone I could trust. Back to the video. He doesn't need to drive anywhere. I needed support. He was not like he was actually working. He said he was working, but it was all lies. You know, that's stuff for another day. The man would work here and there, but he would always just working as an excuse, but he wasn't really working. Then he would have no money. It's like, wait, you always say you're working, you shouldn't have money? Yeah, story for another day. Story for another day. Story for another day. The amount of stuff that I found out is just so hurtful, but like, I digress. Let's continue. So I did not get support from him. You know, I understand he couldn't come in to the hospital, but at home, I went through this miscarriage for 2 weeks. You know, this was right before my 30th birthday. I'm ending off my 20s in pain, miscarrying right before my 30th birthday. I remember telling a friend like what I was going through, and that friend lost a child on delivery day, so I knew that friend would understand, and that friend took me to a beach, and that was very helpful for my mental health, because I just needed to get out, because I was going through it. At this time, twins were at my parents' house, but yeah, I was going through it. I remember one day being in so much pain. I remember calling my boyfriend. I'm like, oh, like, are you gonna come? Like, I'm in so much pain. I'm busy. He was too busy driving around people in his rentals. He was too busy living a secret life. I'm just gonna say, he was too busy living a secret life. I didn't know that he was living a secret life until a few months ago, while I was 8 months pregnant with the twin girls that I've had this year. You know, so it's side note, and I wasn't even gonna add this in this video, but when this secret life came to light, and I was talking about, you know what, it's so hurtful that you did this to me, how could you? He would go from apologizing to blame shifting, not to accountability, and then one time he said something super disgusting. When I was talking about, like, it's bad enough you did this, especially during the miscarriage, like, this man said, it's not even like the baby had a brain yet. I just thought that was so disgusting to say. Like, how do you say that about your own child? Biologically speaking, the amount of weeks that I was, the baby did in fact have a brain. But regardless, this is a pregnancy loss. So devastating. I'm in so much pain, and if you're my partner, you're supposed to support me. Whether the baby had a brain or not, it did have a brain. And now I see that in fact it is him without the brain. It is him without the brain. So I know if you're having a miscarriage, I know it's hard because you'll never get back that baby, but if you're trying, keep trying. Because I was about to give up, and now I had twin girls. But that, I'm gonna talk about that story for another day. But I found out what he was doing during the miscarriage just a few months ago. You know, that's why I mean that if I made this video closer to when it happened, it would be a lot different, because that's me making the video not knowing what exactly he was doing. Now I know exactly what he was doing during the miscarriage, to an extent, because you never truly know what someone's doing. You might learn more, but you don't truly know the ins and outs, because you're not them, you're not with them, you know. But this man was driving around more than just his family, and I'll just say that. And he was living a secret life during the miscarriage. I'm going to talk about that. This is just a little teaser. So if you want to know more about what I found out while I was 8 months pregnant, then subscribe, because I'm going to be talking about everything. Originally I wasn't going to, but this is my story to tell. This is my experience. I hate that I have this story to tell. This shouldn't be my story. I thought this was my person. This should not be my story, but it is. And I'm gonna tell it. That's that, because he's going around telling all his stories about me that are all lies. Because it's like, for my stories I have receipts. For his stories he just has his flapping tongues, you know. But I think a story for another day. But like, yeah. So during the miscarriage he wasn't a support at all. I remember begging him to be here, begging him. I'm like, yo, can you just sit down with me for 5 minutes? The man will just be standing, I can't go, I have a car to do, like, just make excuses. And I'll be so hurt, and then the man will just be like, gotta go. And then like, yo, why do you seem like you don't even care, you're even sad? We all go through things differently. I also discussed it, but we all go through things differently. Just because we all go through things different don't mean that you don't be a support to your partner. Because it's like, if you're with someone and whether you're going through it or your partner's going through it, you think that your partner, you guys will have each other to lean on when things get rough. You know, especially this is something we're both going. This is both of, yes, it's my body that was pregnant, and it's my body in pain, but where's the empathy, you know? This was your child. Where was the empathy? There was no, like, I didn't see any care that he lost a child, like, you know. It's just like he didn't care. And it's like, okay, if you don't care but I care, and if we're together, we should be supporting each other, you know. I was just like so hurt. I lose my baby and then I also see them not getting support. Like, it's just horrible. This video is probably gonna be super long, but I've delayed making this video for months. I just see my last video was 3 months ago, because making this video will just give me anxiety and I just want to get it out. You know what time it is? It's almost midnight. I don't know if you guys could see, but what am I doing? It's 11:59. I don't know if you could see. Will it focus? But it's 11:59. It's almost midnight, and I felt like I need to get this video out. I don't want to bring this into the new year. It's December 1st, about to be December 2nd. I want to get this out. I just want to get out, you know, of this hurt that I've been feeling. And this fertility journey, I can't even say it was from hell, because I did get blessings from it at the end. But the journey was hard. I was definitely on God's strongest warriors. I was definitely on his list for the strongest warriors of I guess both years, 2021 and 2022, both years. I was on that list. I was one of the strongest warriors, because the things that I've gone through, been through, and I'm going through right now could really break someone. During this 2 weeks of miscarrying, it lasted longer than 2 weeks, but it was those like 2 weeks, and then I'll tell you guys when I get there. So there was a day I remember that the pain was feeling unbearable, like the pain wouldn't let up, and I wanted to go back to the hospital, but I had my kids are home, you know, school was closed, my kids are home. He wouldn't come. I think I started telling the story, but then I drifted off. So he claimed he was busy. So I remember calling my dad, you know, and I don't really call my dad for anything. So I called him and I'm like, I'm not feeling well, will you be able to pick up Smart Eli? I usually go there, they live in Rexdale, so I usually would just travel there to drop them off and come back home, but I was in so much pain I could not drive. So it's like, my boyfriend is not helping me. I called my dad. He doesn't even know that he doesn't know that I'm having a miscarriage. By now I told my mom, crying, because I called her one day and let her know that I'm having a miscarriage. I just like, I'm like, I didn't want to tell you so soon because I wanted to make it special, and then I had a miscarriage. And I told her everything, but she didn't tell my dad, and I didn't tell my dad, you know. So my dad doesn't even know that I'm miscarrying, knows nothing. And then I remember he came, he parked outside the building. I was in so much pain, but I still went to the car to bring up my kid's car seats to put in his car. Because at the time, what happened to the second? I think my mom was out, and the car seats that I leave there, she had in her car. So I brought the car seats from my car into my dad's car. Like, I gave it to him and he put it in the car and everything. It was, you know what was so embarrassing? When I went to the side to give my dad my kid's car seat, why? And I had my kids with me, but why do I see my boyfriend at the side of the building and with his rental? Like, he said he was too busy to come and help me, but then I see him at the side of the building with his aunts, his cousins, their friends. Like, they're having a fun, dandy time, a whole bunch of them in this flashy rental. I'm going through the worst pain of my life. Like, physically, you know, my worst pain emotionally was losing my brother, but my worst physical, and this was hard emotionally and mentally, you know, this was right second. Losing this child was right up there, and he's having a fun time driving around his family. They're all there smiling, they're saying hi to me, and I'm just in shock that, wait, he just said he was too busy, but then look at, he's right here at the building with his family, you know? And then his aunt is saying hi to me, and I said hi, but she looked so happy, but I was not happy. I'm in severe pain, and I'm seeing that my boyfriend is driving you guys around, able-bodied people that could get around. I can't even move. I didn't tell my dad that I'm having a miscarriage, and I don't even have the words, but I just felt like, okay, and my dad will take the kids, and then when my dad's gone, I'll just take a cab down. I knew my dad would have dropped me there, but I didn't want to deal with the questions of why I'm going to the hospital. So once my dad drove off, you know how embarrassing it is? My man has his family here driving around, but I have to take a Uber to the hospital because my man is too busy being Uber for free to his family. But it's like, I thought I'm family too. Like, I thought wasn't this your child? Everyone got put ahead of me. Like, I was, I guess, last priority. Miscarriage and all. I couldn't even move, and I'm having to take a Uber. And he's out there with a rental that you wouldn't even know how to drive if I didn't teach him how to drive. I taught this man how to drive. Let him drive my car for 2 years. Just for him to diss me to drive other people, and it was not just his family. Now don't forget, I have stories for another day, but not just his family he's driving around, you know. So, but this day it was his aunt and his cousins. He's able-bodied people, and I just needed a ride. The hospital was literally 5-minute drive away, and I had to take an Uber. And then my dad is seeing that, but that's like, wait, why he have a rental? Wait, why he driving around these people? Like, wait, why he have a rental? Wait, oh, that's his aunt? Why he don't help you? I was so ashamed and embarrassed. I'm like, I didn't have no words. I'm just like, you know, because I'm also wondering that. But that's like, wait, oh, that's his aunt, that's his cousin. But why he driving around? But he can't even help, because mind you, my dad drove from Rexdale to downtown. You know, and when he's like, oh, it's because he did ask if my boyfriend was able to bring them. I'm like, no, I don't. He says he's busy. I can't get him to help me. But then my dad sees that he's here with his family. Like, that's so embarrassing, you know, and that's so hurtful, and that's that. So as his family's there, his aunt saying hi, I'm saying hi. I guess she doesn't know that I'm having a miscarriage, and also that my boyfriend has not been around. Like, I'm trying my hardest not to say his name, but like he's not my boyfriend, but I'm just calling him this for the purpose of this video, okay? So she does not know, because at the time he was my boyfriend, so she does not know that I'm in severe pain and that her nephew has totally get me to the side for her. But I feel like maybe if they didn't know, they wouldn't care anyway, so it's like whatever. They're all there with the fancy rental, but I had to take an Uber. I taught this man how to drive. He drove other people. I went to a fertility clinic to support him. He supports other people. I got no support. I put my life on the line. Pregnancy is so dangerous. Giving birth is all of that is so dangerous. I put my life on the line to give this man a baby. and he disses me. It's one thing to diss me, but what really got me is that I felt like you're not only dissing me, you're dissing your seed, you're dissing your unborn child. If this child got an opportunity to grow, it would be, the child would be one right now, or almost one. So it's like, there was no care. Like, how did you go from being so happy and telling the world to just be like, oh, just driving around rentals? Like, it just, mind you, side note, I did not know what narcissism was at this time. Now knowing what I know now and understanding the whole of the thing with narcissism and everything's making sense now, you know. But at this time, I did not know. I just thought like, yo, what's going on? Like, why are you treating me like this? And why does it seem like you don't care? Mind you, now I know why. Because he was living a whole next life. Sorry for another day. 10 days after the initial bleeding began, I felt a gush one night. It was like 1 something a.m. when I went to the washroom and I went to wipe. I seen the baby. You know, I didn't, at first I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe it was just like a big blood clot. But then when I examined it and I touched it, I felt a spine. I saw blood vessels. I saw life, you know. I saw life. On this piece of tissue, I saw life. I saw, like, when I would go to I had all these pregnancy apps and I'd go week by week, and when I would look at the weeks that I was, and I compared to the baby, my baby on the tissue, it kind of matched the picture of what the baby would have looked like inside of me for that amount of weeks, you know. And that was hard because I was by myself. This is 1 something a.m. Why am I alone at 1 something a.m. when I have a boyfriend? Why is he not with me? I'm going through a miscarriage. Oh yeah, because he was living a double life and I didn't know about it at the time. I know now why he wasn't there, but at the time it just so like, what's wrong with him, you know? I remember bawling. I was crying, you know, crying. I'm like, oh my god. Like, I knew that the pregnancy was over and that I was miscarrying, but I didn't think I was gonna actually see it. I thought maybe it just kind of reabsorb in my body, or it'd just be like just regular bleeding. I didn't think I was gonna actually see it like come out. That traumatized me, because then for a whole year until recently, every time I used the washroom, I kind of like, I would turn off the light, like not to shower but to use it, because just I was traumatized. I was traumatized. You know, I always would turn off the lights to use the washroom because of, after that day of seeing that on the tissue, I was like, it was traumatic. You know, I remember bawling, but one thing is that when it came out, the pain stopped, you know. I still had some cramping, but that severe ache and pain that I was feeling in my pelvic area, I didn't feel it no more. So I guess the pain was just my body trying to get the baby to come out, but the severe pain that I was feeling stopped right when it came out. If you're sensitive, then just skip a couple like seconds, but I'm gonna show you what it looked like on the tissue. So if you're sensitive, skip. I'm gonna show in 3, 2, 1. That's what I seen on the tissue, and it was more circular, and I kind of stretched it out because at first I thought it was a blood clot until I felt the spine, you know. And then I actually examined it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this was it. This was my baby. Going through this miscarriage was one of the most painful and traumatic experiences that I have ever faced in my life. It was one of the top ones. What made this situation and this miscarriage way worse was the lack of support that I received from the person whose baby I was carrying, the person who was my boyfriend at the time, the person who had an infertility, male factor infertility, who I supported and who I still did everything that I possibly could to ensure that we have a healthy pregnancy, the person that no matter what, I would have never dissed, I would have never turned my back, walk past, have attitude, especially when he needed me. I would have never treated him the way he treated me. And I remember being so hurt. I wanted to just end the relationship after that. You know, that summer was hard. So, summer 2021. Because he was not around. And the more he was not around, the more I'm like, yeah, this is not going to work. But then I was being gaslit and manipulated. And at that time, I did not know. I did not really understand narcissism, gaslighting, manipulation. Like, I know manipulation, but I didn't realize it was happening to me. I didn't realize that I was in a narcissist abusive relationship. Like, I did not realize that at the time. I just thought, like, this man just loves road. I didn't really take in how serious the situation was, you know. And then when I would try to explain, like, I knew how serious I felt, but I didn't understand how serious the manipulation and the gaslighting was. I didn't realize that that's what was happening to me. That's what he was doing to me. Let's be real here. It's not just some random person doing to me. That's what he was doing to me. The lying, the manipulation, the gaslighting. Knowing what I know now, it's like, wow. But I remember telling him, and I didn't want to even try again after that. Like, I just started focusing on decor. I changed my kid's room. I got I just got this couch recently, but I got a blue couch. I was like done. I'm like, he treated me awful. I don't want to even try to get pregnant and then go through this again, God forbid. So I'm like, I just kind of just distract my mind by doing retail therapy, changed up my living room because I didn't want to be reminded of laying on this couch during the miscarriage. So I got rid of the couch that I had. I did want to get rid of it before. Like, I had it for a while since I moved here. So I've been here for 6 years, so I had it for 5 years at the time. So I switched up everything, got a swing, changed up a whole bunch of things in my home to make me feel like my house is a home. And it was a home before, but yeah, it was a home. But now I wanted it to feel like it was a different home. Tried to do little stuff that kept me distracted because he wasn't around. You know, he was barely around in the summer, and I just thought, okay, this man just loves road, and it was so disrespectful. I would always be begging him, like, why are you not around? Like, I'm gonna show you guys some notes that I wrote during the miscarriage, trying to explain to him, like, I needed you, you weren't there. I needed emotional support, you weren't there. I'm gonna insert those clips. Y'all feel free to pause it, screenshot, take a picture, do whatever you want. I don't care anymore. So here's some notes. You can see the date. I haven't touched these notes from those dates, and ignore the grammar and the spelling mistakes because clearly when I'm typing this, I'm sad, and yeah, so there it is. So even while begging him for support, I still had to mention that I appreciate him, because he would always be like, you don't appreciate me. He would literally disrespect me, not show empathy, not be there for me when I need him to be there for me. And his thing is, you don't appreciate me. Like, what did you give me to appreciate? You're not around. You haven't helped me. Any little thing that he does, he would need the most appreciation. And it's like, I always, whenever he does any little thing, I always say thank you. It got to the point where I would have to be like, thank you, king, thank you, to let him know that, like, I appreciate you, thank you, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, I always have to say thank you, because then he'll be like, you don't appreciate me. And even when I would say that, he'll still say, you don't appreciate me. Like, what? So even while I'm saying, like, you know what, you haven't been there, blah, 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 but I appreciate that you made the kids for me that one time. I appreciate that you got the food. I needed the support. I needed a hug. Even a hug I had to beg for, and I wouldn't even receive. I'm just mind blown, because knowing what I know now, I'm just so disgusted. Because it's like, knowing what I know now, it's like, why didn't you just break up with me? That's a story for another day. It's just like, why torture someone like this, you know? To be honest, every time I would be like, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be together, because I would see that this relationship is not what I want. But then when I would say stuff like that, all of a sudden I'll be hit with what I now know is love bombing. Like, I've been watching so many videos of narcissism. Now I'm kind of understanding what I've gone through. At the time, I was just, my mind was just blurred. Like I was just so confused as to what is going on, you know? Because it's like 1 second I feel like there's love, and then a whole week will go by with it's like nothing, and then a couple good days and a week of nothing. And then I always kind of was hoping for him to be what he's not, I guess. I was hoping for something that just was not happening. But I know now. I did not know then. I know now. I take accountability that those red flags, and they were pink at the time. Oh, I just went like this. But I didn't know it was so bad. I did not know it was that just like as bad as it is. And I didn't find out how bad it was till I was 8 months pregnant, you know? But I remember telling him, like, you know what, maybe we should just be friends. I used to say that because I remember I used to always be like, you know, maybe we should just be friends, or like F things, like just be things. Because like I'm not getting the, if you're my man, I think my baby's up. It's like it's midnight. Maybe she needs her susu. So yeah, so now I'm even understanding it as I'm talking to you guys. Cause I remember I would say, like, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be together. Cause it's like, if you're my man, I need you to be there for me. I need you to ride for me. I need you to hug me. I shouldn't have to ask you for a hug. I need you to love me, you know? And I just didn't feel like I was getting it. And now knowing what I know, it makes sense. It makes so much sense now. Knowing what he was doing, knowing what narcissism is and all the ins and outs, it makes so much sense. But at the time, it was like a brain fog. I was like, what is this, you know? Because then I'll tell him, like, you know what, maybe we should just be friends. And then he'll be like, no, oh, is my battery about to die? Oh, my battery's about to die. But he'll be like, I'm gonna try to speed it up. So he'll be like, no, like, I'm sorry, we all go through things different. Then he'll be like amazing for like a couple days, and then I'll be like, okay, yeah, okay, I like this. Yeah, this is okay. Yeah, like, I was too forgiving, you guys. Don't ever be so forgiving. If someone shows you their true colors, believe it. You know, I'm never looking past red flag. I'm never say never. Okay, never say never. But I mean, not say never, but I'm not gonna ignore red flags anymore. You know, because he would treat me so horrible, not be there for me, and then when I would say, okay, let's be friends, or maybe we should just be like F things, or I don't know, whatever, all of a sudden he'll act like I want him to act for like a little bit, and then go back to his norm, which was being out and not really being supportive. That whole summer I was so depressed, because before that summer, like before 2020, we always did everything together. We were always on road together, and then even summer we did so many things. Summer 2020, so I thought summer 2021 would be even more lit because things were starting to open, and it wasn't. I know now because I found out what he was doing while I was 8 months pregnant back in April of this year, but at the time of the miscarriage I did not know, you know. So I was like kind of like in a limbo, like should I leave, should I stay. He would seem so sincere in his apology, like, I'm so sorry, like, oh, I'm gonna try to be supportive, you know. Then he'll try to blame shift, like, you know, just because I don't feel appreciated, I don't feel like you appreciate. I'm like, I appreciate you, what do you want me to, I appreciate you. And then he'll kind of like shift in the blame, and I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, and it's like blah blah blah. It's like, oh yeah, I said that, blah, blah. I said that. Like, he'll just say things that's like I don't recall saying. Then I'll be like, what did you say when I said that? Like, it just seems so out of, like, I'm like, I didn't, what did I? Or I'll say, like, you know what, it would be nice if I was there. I was like, no, you weren't. Like, I said that. I said, no, you didn't. Yo, like, and then just he'll face the wall or just leave, you know. We never could have a proper conversation because he would either go mute, shift blame, leave. Go mute, shift blame, leave. Or rage. It was never a productive, like, conversation, because it was all about shifting blame, not taking accountability, being mute, and leaving. And sometimes we were having a great time, and all of a sudden he'll just be like not saying anything, and I was like, yo, what's wrong? Like, we were just having a great time. And then he'll blame me, and it's like, wait, what happened? Like, what did I do? We were just having a great time. Now I know is that when you live multiple lives, maybe something in that life triggered him, and because I was beside him, now I have to deal with his anger because something going on in his multiple lives, the other personalities. I know now, but at the time I was like, yo, what did I say to make this him like not? Why is he in a bad mood now? Like, what in the bipolar is this? Like, what? Because it's like I have depression, I have anxiety, you know. I'm all for recognizing mental illnesses and, you know, but this wasn't normal. So I'm like, okay, this man maybe has a mood disorder. Mind you, I didn't know what narcissism was. I'm just saying that because now knowing what narcissism is, it just makes so much sense now. But at the time, I didn't understand. So I should not have forgave him for how he treated me during this miscarriage. He was not there for me. He did not give me the comfort that I needed. He was doing dirty, nasty things during the miscarriage. You know, and it's so hard for me to not talk about it, but I have to make a separate video about that. But he was not there for me when I needed him the most, and I should have never forgave him for the way he treated me during this miscarriage, because that is a clear sign of his character, and that was a huge red flag for what I found out pretty much a year later, you know? And now kids are involved, and kids got born into this. So my kids were already involved, but now we went on. We had a second, I'll just give you guys the quick rundown. We had a second IUI. That IUI failed. His count was even lower. Now it makes sense why his count was lower, you know, because he wasn't doing what he said he was doing. He was doing everything else. Then I didn't even want to try again. He encouraged me to have a third one. The love bombing was real. Like, it would make me feel like, oh yes, this is, we're getting somewhere. And then just for everything to go back to shits. But the third IUI worked. I made videos. The video before this talks about it, and I also have my reaction video. I don't know how long my battery has, but all I could say is that I hope you guys learn from my mistakes, because I'm learning from my mistakes. When someone is not there for you and they show you their true colors, believe it. Don't let them gaslight and manipulate you and have you thinking that you're the problem when you know in your heart that you were genuine. In my heart, I can say that I've always genuine. Even while going through the pain of the miscarriage, I was still trying to, when he said we all go through things differently, that hurt. But I'm an empath. So then I'm like, okay, maybe his way of going through this is going for drives. But it's like, he didn't even ask me one time if I want to go for a drive. Mind you, just being in the car hurt because I'm in so much pain, but I know he didn't want me in the car because he was supposed to be driving other people in his cars. You know? It all makes sense now why he was not a support. The main reason is because he didn't want to be a support. But now I know exactly what he was doing. And it makes it even more hurtful. Because had I known, I would have definitely left, you know? Because I have certain things that lines that just do not get crossed, and he crossed those lines, and if had I known, I would have definitely broken off with him. However, I'm very blessed and happy to have my twin girls, because with the third IUI, I got pregnant with twin girls. So my tubes were amazing. My tubes still worked because clearly it was able to bring the two eggs to my uterus. So my tubes, I got champion tubes. But so yeah, my tubes were fine. You know, the miscarriage did not affect my ability to get pregnant again. So if you're having that concern, you just never know, because I thought that my tubes were done for, and I was able to get pregnant with twins after the miscarriage, double rainbow babies, you know, double rainbow. So now I got 2 sets of twins, you know, got my 6-year-old twins, and my girls are I have boy girl and now twin girls. So my baby girls are 6 months. So 6 years old and 6 months. Sorry, what makes the miscarriage even more hard is because, like, it was harder enough because there's a miscarriage, but now this is happening in our birthday month. This is my birthday month, my boyfriend at the time birthday month. It's my 6-year-old twins birthday month. So all of us are June babies. So June, which was supposed to be a lit month, then to find out we're pregnant in June, and then to lose it, And then this is how I celebrated my 30th birthday. I was still bleeding on my birthday. He wasn't even around on my birthday. He came around for just a few minutes in the nighttime, you know. And then I know what he was. I see what. So okay, sorry for another day. You know what? But like, yeah, that a birthday so special, like 30, miscarriage alone. You know, luckily I did go out for lunch on my birthday. I went out with the kids and my girl who lives next door and her son. My boyfriend did get his sister to make a cake, and shout out to his sister because he didn't do anything. Yeah, so he did get his sister to make a cake, but he told me that he's gonna give me the new iPhone 12 for my birthday. I'm not materialistic, but if you're gonna be telling me for months to get me this for my birthday, so when he took the kids, I'm thinking he's going to get something like from the car. I did not think he was gonna be gone 5 hours with the kids, so I started to worry and I started panic, wondering like, wait, what happened? You know, I couldn't even relax. This is my birthday and I'm stressed, wondering like, where did he go and where's my kids? Just to find out that he had them at his mom's house, where that's another story, but I did not want my kids there. You know, I did not want my kids there, and he had them there on my birthday. So it's more insult to injury, you know, that not only is his birthday sad that I'm going through a miscarriage. Yeah, I had a great lunch, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, I'm still miscarrying, and now my kids are somewhere that I did not want them to be. And it's like, okay, he got his sister to make the cake. He didn't make the cake, so what he did was he made it seem like he was with the kids or whatever, so he could leave for hours on my birthday again. He just showed up to get the kids, made it seem like he was coming right back, left for hours. He didn't stay with the kids. He dropped them at his mom so his sister could, I guess, be with them to make the cake. And then he left again and then brought the cake, and then I was hurt. Like, when he came back, I was like, yo, you're gone for 5 hours? I've made these box cake before. This box cake takes like an hour to make, if even. The man was gone for 5 hours. Now again, not only am I going through this for my birthday, but at least I would have had my kids and we could have watched movies. They were gone, and I thought we were gonna go for dinner. I was dressed up waiting for so long. I digress, but it's like so much things that is so foul. You know, so many things that are so foul, and now looking back, it's like, and matching the dates, and seeing that, yep, this happened during my birthday as well. It's so foul. That was one of the worst experiences I've ever experienced in my life. And I just want to hope that if you are going through this, you have support. And if your partner treats you in a way that you know you should not be treated, not even just for miscarriage, but in general, don't ignore the red flags. Do not ignore the red flags, because I ignored it, and I love my girls, but now I'm tied to this man for life. You know, I'm tied to this man for life. I love my babies. I'm blessed, so it is what it is, you know. But had I known what he was doing, and had I been more like clear-headed, I would have left after the way he treated me during this miscarriage. So yeah. Well, this battery's lasting long. It's been saying it was gonna die for a while, but thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're trying to have a baby and you're going through infertility, I sprinkle some baby dust. Hope you get your cute and squishy, healthy little baby. And I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. And yeah, it's so late now. This is late for me, 12:33, and let me go shower. Baby's sleeping, everyone's sleeping. All right.